Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, March the 26th, 2024 special called board meeting of the Colleton County School District. I would like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge, followed by the invocation.
Hello?
Go ahead. Oh, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a moment of silence for Miss Debbie Price, third honor graduate from the class of 2000 and a devoted teacher at Northside and Forest Hills that went to heaven. Thank you. Father God, we give you all honor and glory for the devoted life and legacy of Miss Debbie Price. Thank you for the many students, adults that she encouraged each and every day, and may the fond memories of her continue to encourage us. Father, we ask you to comfort her family, friends, and her school family in a special way as only you can. Father, we thank you and we're humbled that yet another Passion Week is upon us, and we look forward to celebrating yet another Easter this Sunday. We ask for your divine protection, rest, and renewal upon all that will celebrate spring break next week, and for a safe return for a successful 9 weeks left for this school year. Finally, we thank you for the words from Romans 15:13. May the Lord God of hope fill us with all joy and peace as we trust in him, so that we may overflow with hope by the power of his Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Board members, if you would, please join me in the civility pledge. I pledge to build a stronger and more effective school board by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of my school district. Before we approve the agenda, I'd like to make note that we have 5 board members present. Mr. Stivender should be here shortly. He is detained, and Ms. Jones is not able to join us this evening. Also with us are our attorneys, Ms. Hannah and Ms. Drain from Halligan, Mahoney, and Williams. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, thank you.
I can hear you as well.
Thank you, Ms. Drain. Thank you, Ms. Hannah. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries. Is there any public input? There's not. Board members, I'll entertain a motion that we enter into executive session. Upon returning to open session, action may be taken by the board on the items discussed during executive session.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we enter into executive session for item 3.01, the discussion of employment matters regarding hirings and resignations, and item 3.02, discussion of superintendent evaluation, goals and objectives, and contractual matters.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded to enter into executive session for items 3.01 and 3.02. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries. We're now in executive session. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion that we enter back into open session.
Madam Chair, make a motion, we enter back into open session.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded to enter back into open session. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries. We're now back into open session.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendation that was given us for professional staff employment for 24-25.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the professional staff recommendations for just one recommendation for year 24-25. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move that we affirm the vote of the Board of Trustees to employ Jessica Williams as superintendent based on the completion of a positive evaluation she received this evening, and that we further authorize you as board chair to enter into negotiations with Ms. Williams, said terms of the contract generally having been reviewed in executive session with the board.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to affirm the vote of Ms. Jessica Williams as superintendent and to allow for the negotiations of her contract to move forward. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. At this time, before we adjourn, I just want to state a few announcements. One, and please correct me if I'm wrong, our fifth grade kickball scheduled for tomorrow because of weather has been delayed till April the 17th. And I want to make sure I make the announcement. We are on spring break next week, and so our committee of the whole for the Colleton County School District Board of Trustees will be held on Tuesday, April the 16th, with a regular scheduled meeting following the next Tuesday, the 23rd. And I will entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion made and seconded that we adjourn the special called board meeting. I would like to note that Ms. Lynn Strobel will take on the budget work session as I have to leave at a certain time. So Ms. Strobel will be taking over in the budget work session to follow. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. We now stand adjourned. I thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you for those that can be in attendance tonight. We appreciate you having patience with us as we move forward now with our budget work session for Tuesday, March 26, 2024. This will be our first budget work session. At this time, I would like for you to look at the agenda, and we can entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Madam Vice Chair, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented for the budget work session.
Second.
Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion about the agenda that's printed? All those in favor, right hand, please. Thank you. The motion carried unanimously. That will move forward with our superintendent's report.
Okay, not a problem. First, I want to say good evening, board members, and I want to start by just thanking you for your vote of confidence in me as superintendent for the 2024-2025 school year. Thank you so very much. Tonight is our first budget work session for the development of the school year 2024-2025 budget. Our schools and our departments have been working diligently to prioritize our needs in order to present to you a general fund budget. We have started the zero-based budget process while keeping in mind the efficient operation of the district. My goal is to structure our needs around our strategic plan, which consists of student achievement, first and foremost, climate and culture, teacher administrative quality, and then our district priority, which is to increase enrollment in our district. The district relies very heavily on state funding, with 88% of our budget going towards salaries and fringe. This leaves only 12% for other operational needs such as supplies and materials, professional development, operating costs, and other needs. My top 3 priorities for the 2024-2025 budget are, first and foremost, academic achievement. I want to make sure that our teachers and our students have the resources that they need to ensure effective teaching and learning, because that's what school districts are about, teaching and learning. And in addition, we must provide support to our staff with professional development in order to make sure that their efforts to educate our students are solid. My second priority is to attract and retain staff. We have to be more competitive with our teacher salaries and brand our district to attract highly qualified teachers and support staff. And then my third priority is ensuring that our district is safe and secure, whether that's with the physical buildings or with technology. We have to make sure that our district is safe. So tonight, we will begin our work session with Ms. Barrett, providing an overview of the budget process, and then I have asked 3 departments to provide a brief presentation for you of the needs of their respective departments. So in so doing, I think this will give you a good indication of what our operating needs are. So I've asked the staff to give 10-minute presentations, and I'm going to ask Ms. Hyman if you would set the timer. I may give Ms. Barrett just a little more time because she's going to actually review the process and just talk a little bit about our financial outlook for the 2024-25 school year. All right, Ms. Barrett.
Thank you, Superintendent Williams, for giving us that overview for instruction, student, staff, and safety.
Good evening to the board, and good evening to everyone in the audience. I'm going to just do an overview of the budget process for the fiscal year 24-25 budget. As you see, we have a budget calendar, and our first reading is going to be on April 9th. The budget process involves 3 readings. The first reading is normally title only, because that reading is information that we get from the House budget, from the revenue from the House. And because the budget is not actually passed yet, it's just a projection of what the House said we're going to get. So when we present the first reading, it's going to be based on the House projection. And it may not be balanced because we still have information that still has to come. The second reading is based on revenue projection from the Senate budget, and normally this is the third reading, and this is normally the budget that is passed by the state for us to go ahead and formulate our second reading, and normally the budget that we adopt, which is the third reading, or the final reading is the budget that we adopt. And as you see, you have the state legislative process. Like we said, the House Ways and Means, they come in and do whatever they have to do, and then the full House give us a budget, which is what we have now that we are working with in order to do our first reading. Then the Senate Finance Committee now is working, and then it goes to the full Senate, and then it goes to the Conference Committee, and it goes back and forth there, and then it goes to the governor to be signed into bill as the bill for the budget for the fiscal year. And the goal of our budget is to develop a budget that supports an educational program that meets the learning needs of all students while giving strong consideration to fiscal efficiency. And the budget goals, we have to prioritize our expenditure needs. We need to match our revenue to our needs. And of course, we have to balance the budget because state law said we have to have a balanced budget, which means our revenue and our expense must match. And we have to maintain our fund balance. But we have some budget challenges that we have to work with. Timeline of the legislative process, because we can't really formulate a budget until we know what the state is going to give us for our funding, since 70-something% of our budget comes from the state based on all state funding. And so it's hard for us to actually do a budget and develop a budget until we get all the information from the state. And the state funding model has changed. It used to be based on the student-based cost, where we could almost project the budget by the number of students we have. But since the funding has changed based on the teachers in the classrooms and funding based on that, it's sort of hard to project the budget without getting any information from the state. And of course, we have unfunded mandate and underfunded mandate. Two mandates that we have so far is we have to do unencumbered monitors, which was not funded by the state, but as a mandate. We also had to we are doing the family leave, for paid parental leave, which was mandated by the state, which is unfunded. So we do have unfunded mandates that we have to also put into our budget. And then we have inflation, an increase in various other costs. And then the most thing that we're really going to have to deal with this year is the expiration of ESSA funds, because we've been using ESSA funds to help us along with the general fund. But those funding sources will be gone as of September 30th, 2024. The fund balance represents the net cash flow after all revenues have been deposited and all expenses has been paid. It is the district savings account. That's our fund balance. The fund balance is not cash. Cash balance shows the amount of cash you have on hand, which is different from the fund balance, because we can have a fund balance at June 30th of 18 million, but if you look at our fund balance at our cash, sometime in May, it may not be that, because we don't get all, because once we start collecting funds from the county for our taxes, we don't get any more revenue until the next tax season come again for property taxes. So that's why we use our fund balance to help us overgo those expenses until we stop collecting tax revenue again. A district can seem to have a high fund balance and still not be able to meet cash flow needs, because the cash flow needs come in when we don't have cash coming in from our property taxes, because property taxes don't normally start until September and till November. We're not getting any property taxes from the county, so we have to rely on our fund balance in order for us to operate. So what's important to have a fund balance? Why is it important to have a healthy fund balance? Financial stability, we got to have the buffer the buffer against unexpected expenses, revenue shortfall, emergencies, provide resources to address unforeseen situation without reporting a drastic measure such as furloughs, reduction in force, program cuts, and emergencies. Cash flow management, as I was saying, it helps smooth our cash flow in fluctuation fluctuation throughout the year. Expenses tend to be consistent through the year and predictable, but revenues are sporadic and sometimes unpredictable. Cash on hand, we don't have any cash from the treasury from September to November, and it helps us not be able to have to do a TAN. A TAN is a tax anticipation note. That means that we used to have to borrow money to carry our bills until we were able to get the property taxes from the county. And last few years, we didn't have to do that anymore, which was a good thing. And as you see, the historical fund balance, we really, back in 2016, we barely had $3 million in the fund balance. And our operating expense today is $4 million a month. So if we had a $3 million fund balance, like we had back in 2016, we would not have been able to operate today without having some kind of a TAN to borrow money in order to pay for our operating expense until our fund come in. As you look over the past few years, we have finally got up to our fund balance at a nice, healthy fund balance of over $18 million. And speaking of fund balances, there is a a spreadsheet that is going around in the state legislator about fund balances in the district. The state is, the House, but the legislative body is concerned that districts are having too much fund balances. So they are actually looking at our fund balances. They're coming up with what we're supposed to be having for fund balances based on 1 year, and based on 1 month, and then they're coming up with what we're supposed to have according to GAAP based on 2 months. So what we are having to do as districts, we have to send in information, because we have what you call SCASBO, we have a lobbyist they go in and they sort of fight for the school district for us. So we have to send in information to defend our fund balance, why we need our fund balance. So we are gathering information now, sending in explanation of why the fund balance is so important for districts. So that's what we're trying to do now. So hopefully they won't do anything about our fund balances, but sometime when they're looking at these mandates and they see that district have a high fund balance, they want us to be able to use our fund balance to cover mandates that they're putting out there. So we were asked to, if you had any legislative of anybody you can write or talk to, let them know that the districts really need our fund balances, because we don't want to get back to where we were a few years back, where we didn't have any fund balance at all. We could hardly operate. We were back one time at the point where our employees were 4 steps behind, but now everybody's up the steps. So we are at a good place right now. Okay, and how are we funded for school operation or the general fund? School districts are funded through a combination of state, federal, and local dollars, many of which come with many lists of regulations dictating how, when, and whom they can be spent on. So they give us the money, but they also give us regulation with it. We just can't spend the money however we want to. They have to tell us what we can spend the money on. When developing, projecting funding for the revenue categories, we monitor the South Carolina General Assembly, as the action has been a material impact on the revenue generated at the state and local level. So right now, I'm just looking at the General Assembly to see what's they're passing, what laws they may be passing that's going to hurt the district or help the district and keep afloat on what's going on there. Local revenue. Some of the school district funding come from local revenue sources, but the most common of which is property taxes. Higher property values can yield more property tax revenue per student, even at a lower tax rate. Dependence on property tax revenue support school often reinforce inequity by ensuring that wealthier communities have better funded schools. State funding is often meant to equalize these differences between the local school community, but it's rarely successful at overcoming these differences, because we have a hard time between the poor school district and the richer school district. They seem to have more money that they can utilize than what we do have. The local property taxes. Local property taxes make up of the majority of our local revenue, and the school district receive operating millage that is set by the county. Some districts have autonomy. They can set their own operating millage, but here in Colleton County, we do not have that autonomy. We have to rely on the council, the county council, to set our operating millage for us. And the district general operating fund millage right now is at 116.42, and it has been that way since 2019. We have not received an increase in our millage rate. And mostly every year, we get a letter from the Department of Revenue tell us the cap on how much we can ask for to increase our millage for every year. And Act 388 was enacted in 2006, and everybody always say that Act 388 does an injustice to the school district, because before Act 388, any property taxes like houses, whatever that were built, the district got taxes from that. So like all the houses that are being built now in Colleton County, the school district, we don't get any taxes from that, houses that are being built. What happened is Act 388, we get a 1% sales tax. That anyone that pays sales tax of 1%, the school district get our operating millage, our operating funds from the 1% school tax that they give us. And we get our local taxes that we do get comes from businesses like Walmart. If you have a secondary home, then they also tax the school for operating. If you have your vehicles, we get some fee, lieu, and taxes. Taxes like that still come into the general fund operating, but most of our other taxes don't come through operating for school operation, but come through the state through a 1% sales tax. If y'all have any questions, just sort of slow me down. I got but 10 minutes. Okay. Available millage under Act 388. If you look on the available millage that we can ask for, in fiscal year 21, you know, we had a certain amount we could get. We could have get 2.11 mils increase, but we didn't get anything, so that means it rolled over. So we could have gotten $223,199. Fiscal year 22, we could have gotten millage of 1.3. We didn't ask for anything, and we didn't get any millage for that year. 2023, we could have asked for a millage increase of 5.47 mil. We didn't ask for a millage increase, and we didn't get anything. 2024, we can get a millage increase of 9.84 millage, which equates to $1.5 million. So if you're talking about the year that we're in now and 3-year look back, we are entitled to get 18.85 millage increase, which equate to $2,873,272 approximately, and the value of a mill is about $158,297. And another revenue source that really weighs on us is our average daily membership. Revenue are driven by student average daily membership. When the House passed their budget that we're now going to be formulating our first reading on, it was based on the 45-day student count, plus the estimated weighted pupil unit for the new charter schools and the statewide authorizers expected to open at the beginning of fiscal year 25. And they did not put any weighted average addings for that people in poverty or any of those weightings were put in that formula for the House budget. But if you look at our 35-day count, fiscal year 23, we had 135-day count of actual student enrollment of 4,898 students. The fiscal year 24, at our 45-day, we had actual enrollment of 4,787 students. So we have lost 111 students from the fiscal year 135-day, which was in sometime in April, until the 45-day in October normally. And the ADM is how we get paid. So we had 4,710 ADM back in 135-day, and fiscal year 24, on the 45-day, we had 4,571. So we've lost 139 ADM since that time. In the state aid to classroom revenue shortfall, the district for fiscal year 24, during our budget process, the state tell us that we were going to get an allocation based on 135-day, $21,585,483.43. And now, when we get our monthly allocation, we are at a current allocation of $20,854,769.80. So we have lost from the 135-day up until our 45-day, we have lost $730,678.63. And it's just an example of our K-12 enrollment. The actual enrollment from 2018 until now, we have lost actual students, 839 actual students. And our ADM, we have lost 719. And if you look at the general fund revenue sources, for the general fund, we do get 68% of our revenue come from the state. And this is for the general fund, but we get more when it come down to the other state funding, but this is just for the general fund. In our local revenue, we get the other percentage of 32%. And federal is so minute, it doesn't even register, but we get $75,000. And if you look at the pie, we always joke about this is the Pac-Man. The Pac-Man is the big blue, that's salaries and fringe. That's what eats up the general fund budget, okay? Out of the salaries, we do $48,687,821. That is 88% of salary and fringe. The maintenance is only $890,000. That's 2%. The utilities is $1.8 million, over $1.8 million. That's 3%. The administrative supply services is $455,425. That's 1% of the budget. And support service supplies is $736,700, and that's 1%. Instructional supply, which is only 1% of the budget, is $497,810. And we had contractor services, which we pay for contract for our Kelly services and our SROs, contracts like that. Those contractor services is $1.1 million, a little over $1.1 million. And then we have the district insurance. This is our property insurance, our workman comp insurance. That's over $1.1 million too, which gave us last year a general fund budget of $55,294,029, and that took up 100% of the budget. That was our budget for last year. So as you can see, if we make any adjustment to our budget to save money, we can't do anything about the utilities, we can't do anything about the district insurance, because those things are constant. So the only thing we left, and which is, Ms. Williams said, 12% of our budget is everything else, but 88% is salary and fringe. And with the second reading I'm going to present to you on April the 9th is going to be about what's in the budget. And we have also put in the budget the teachers' salary increase according to the state minimum scale. We have one step in there for classified administrative staff scale, and a 5.1% increase to the state minimum bus driver scale. And Ms. Crosby has a scale for the teacher that we wanted to share with you, so we can show you what our scale was last year and what our scale is going to look like based on the new teacher's salary scale. If you have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Barrett?
I would like to make a correction, and we need to work on and make sure that the schedule is right. But our first reading for draft 1 is April 16th
Oh, sorry.
at our committee of the whole meeting
Right.
instead of April 9th.
So we have the proposed scale that we have for Carleton County, and we also have the scale for the teacher scale that is did by the state, and we have our last year scale too, so to compare what the difference are on the scales. And this is just, of course, a draft, because if the Senate come in and give some different numbers, this would also change too. The scale would change if the Senate makes a change. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett, and I particularly like the Pac-Man because we can always look to hopefully improve on saving some money in some of those categories like utilities. Like my dad always said, turn the lights off. We'll move forward with our next report, and thank you for the timer and sticking with that, our buildings and ground report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll be presenting the building and ground request for 2024-2025. The first area where I want to talk about is the general funds. The general funds is pretty much flat this time with the realization that ESSER is going away, and the general fund, I'm not requesting any increase in it. It's a flat rate. We are tracking about 25%, 22% now, and the ideal is about 25%. So we are in a good place for the next 3 months to finish this budget year. And I also have some slides on some service contracts, and these are not all of them, but these are the ones that we are bidding right now. We have some that is being evaluated, and some that that's due the week when we get back. And also, I'm working on especially the fire security system that you'll see later on in part of my request. So these are some areas I'm working on. Rewrote the contracts in an attempt of saving some money in contractual services. This is part of the beginning of my budget request. Like Ms. Williams said, I concentrate on pretty much safety and security and some regulatory things that we are going to be responsible for. The first one is the fire alarm system. Right now, I'm rewriting that contract. We got 5 different systems. We have 3 different security monitoring systems, and I'm trying to write in that contract to consolidate all of those, and hopefully that'll save some money. Also, some of our systems are pretty old. The Blackstreet fire system is having a lot of problems. The Hendersonville system is having a lot of problems. The Northside system is having a lot of problems, and the Cottesville system. So my request is to look at consolidating those and actually funding some of the replacement of those. And I said it could be a phased process, and the ones that I name will be the one that I will concentrate on first. The second one is the key control. A lot of our buildings, and even within some of our buildings, we have multiple keys, multiple manufacturers, and we have an issue with securing those keys. And my request is to do a secure key system district-wide, and be able to master that system where only district people would have access to that system. And I also said that that we could phase that in with procuring the brain of the system, and then moving on to replacing cores and key cores as the years progress. OCRM is a Ocean Coastal Regulation Resource Management, and this is all of our detention ponds that you see around the county, and there's one right behind here, and over the years they have grown up, and one of the things is that once trees get in there, it actually stops the purpose of the detention pond, which is to try to keep oil and other things from getting into our waterways. And that proposal is to start cleaning up those. You've probably seen especially the one that sticks out for me is the Cottesville site. That pond that's right in front of the building is overgrown, and some of those that will be to clean those areas up and be in compliance with OCRM, which is regulated by DHEC here in South Carolina. The next one is Carleton County bathroom renovations. Some of those systems are really old. I haven't been there the entire time, but it's some of the petitions and the toilets and sinks. The porcelain is going away, and it's hard to clean it. Even if when it's clean, it doesn't look clean. And my proposal is to start in those areas. There's 12 sets of restroom facility, and I also said that those could be phased in as well. And the flooring in the Carleton County Middle School is the same way. Some areas where it's worn through to the concrete, and my proposal is to start replacing those flooring systems in the hallways, starting in the hallways and in the rooms as well. The next one is the universal card access. I know this building is really outfitted for it, but some of our other schools, for instance, the Bells and Hendersonville don't have many at all. And then my proposal is to try to get those on a universal system to where we could have card access everywhere. The next one is the canopy at Hendersonville and Bells, we bid that project. It was a little over budget. My proposal is we have from this year $110,000 remaining, and I'm asking for an additional 200, and we still would have to reduce the scope of the project to get it in, but it will provide, protection to the kids and the bus drop-off as well as the car drop-off to protect the kids. Number 8 is the Ruffin site, environmental. That has to do with the Ruffin school and what we were working through that. I put that in there as a placeholder because we don't know what we're going to be required as a district to do to deal with the wastewater system and also some other environmental issues that DHEC has brought up. So that we're looking to do that. That's probably something we're going to have to do. Have some type of input within. The next one is some HVAC systems. We did, the district did a great job on using the ESSA funds to replace a lot of the systems with the ESSA funds ending. We still have a couple units that I'm asking to get replaced just to maintain them. And just some extra maintenance dollars for HVAC parts. Some of our systems are a little older, so we want to try to keep them functional. The more we replace parts, the more efficient they are, and the longer they'll last. This is the athletic. I was asked to put this together. I know it's athletic, but as you noticed, and that the athletic department has been canceling a lot of games and stuff, and soccer matches and what stuff because of the water on the field, or the field getting wet. I did some preliminary investigation on some of the options that we have, and the first one is to actually remove the grass, muck the field, put engineering system and engineering soil to allow the field to drain better, and then we wouldn't have to cancel so much events based on our reschedule it to another facility. The option 2 is what the AD and everyone is the artificial turf system. All the other schools in our conference has them, and I was asked to look at that, and that cost is about $1.5 million to go to an artificial turf system. Option 3 is just basically doing what we do now, maintaining the system, fill topsoil, top seed, and to keep the system, the field maintained in that way. And the last one is a turf tractor. Our tractor is about 25, probably between 25 and 30 years old, and not in good working condition, leaking. And those the turf tractors will allow us to maintain those fields, not only the football field, but the practice field, and the softball field, and the baseball field. This is my last one. This is something, and I call this emergency contingency funds, and requesting this where we have things like storms and unforeseen conditions, power utilities, transformers going down, underground utility outages like water lines and things like that, major HVAC repair and other things. Just a contingency fund to be able to move forward on those things expeditiously to get them done, rather than trying to wait on insurance claims. And when those claims come, you can replenish those. But that's a fund to contingency just in case something happens. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I can entertain them.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. That was the money you expect us to need for capital projects?
Yes, yes, ma'am. like I said, the general funds will remain flat.
Any other questions, board members?
So your general budget request was just that first slide at the $435,670? Is that correct? Everything else was capital projects?
Well, the first slide was,
Your building and grounds yearly agreement, is that the slide?
That's, like I said, that was areas where going out and renewing contracts, we are bidding those out. No, the general fund is I have it, but it's not part of your package.
Basically, I asked him to come and present those needs that are basically not in the general fund, because he didn't have a lot of requests that were over his general fund budget from last year. But these are some requests in the capital projects that I thought you needed to know about. We're not going to be able to fund all of these at one time, but I just want you to know what the needs of the district are.
Okay, I got you. But let me just say, just based on what you just said, let me just clarify real quick. There is a big difference between needs and wants. And as we're looking at this budget and we're looking at trimming our budget, we need to, all of us, understand the difference between needs and wants.
And just by looking at some of the things that was requested, I know like with the bathroom, the flooring, I know those are definitely a need because they could be dangerous and cause accidents.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful, I'm thankful for the information that was provided. At least we have an idea of what is in need of the district.
Yeah, and my first three are, I consider in need. The fire alarm systems that are not working properly, that become safety hazards. I think we need, and the security system that goes along with that to protect our investments in our school. The key control is one of them as well. The biggest issue we're working around is the authorities, is the EMS and the local sheriff. When they go to the schools, they have a key in the knockbox that doesn't operate all of the doors. It only allows them to get in the building. Then I have to go out and if there's a smoke detector in a room that has a different lock, they can't get into it. So it's more than just a keying for convenience. It's a keying for security, a keying for our neighbors, the first responders, and everything else.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you, and congratulations on your new grant.
Thank you.
We'll move forward to our human resource report from the superintendent. Thank you. Ms. Hamilton?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So the request in the human resources budget for fiscal year 24-25 is in direct alignment with what has been historically under the purview of human resources. So what I've done for you is to provide you with two tabs, a general fund tab and all that falls under general fund, and then all of our special funding that is allotted to human resources that we allocate to various functions within the department. So we want to make sure that we have aligned, our department, and I commend my staff, we literally sat down and did a zero-based budget and thought about every single thing that we're responsible for, and then we prioritized that. So everything that's on our list comes within the purview of hiring, onboarding, recruitment, retention, and those sort of things. So in the general fund budget, Mary Jo, I don't know if you can.
I'm trying. It's not working.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. We have requested recruitment travel, professional development for our human resource staff because we have to maintain certain certifications. Our administrative travel, celebration banquets like retirement, Teacher of the Year, our legal services for Homeland Security, SLED checks, our background checks through BIB. Vector Solutions, which is Safe Schools, and those are the training modules that we use, and we deploy those modules to every employee. Our UKG, Kronos, staff services, drug testing, and then our supplies for our office, purchase services like Full Mind, and Full Mind is transferring from ESSER, along with our teacher exchange fees. They're transferring from ESSER into the general fund. And then, of course, with new employee orientation comes a cost for snacks and refreshments for those employees. So we have 4 new requests. So we have a total of $139,000 above what we have generally requested in the past. Want to kind of do something with district branding to make sure that we increase our visibility throughout the county and neighboring counties. Education has become quite competitive, as you know, and so we want to attract people to come here. I have included some literature that I'm sure Mary Jo can't click on.
I'm sorry.
When you get the presentation, you will be able to click on it, but it would include things like billboards, marketing brochures, social media, website maintenance, job fair promotions, just various things that the companies can do for the school district. And this is not an HR function per se, like it will be granted to the entire school district, so it would be at our disposal as a district. It would just have to be determined through the superintendent which offices is housed in, if it's going to be HR or communications, so that's something, or in collaboration. Want to kind of talk to y'all a little bit about wanting to create school-based retention teams to focus on celebrations and morale infusers for various staff members to celebrate birthdays, marriages, babies, and just to say, hey, here's a soda from Sonic or something, you know, let me get your Sonic order, you know, that type thing. Also want to make sure that we are trying to do something, again, to retain our employees with referral bonuses. So if an employee refers someone to a job, that we give them something for that referral. And also a years of service retention bonus. And that can be done in gradual steps. We can determine which years we want to recognize at what rate, and then gradually infuse others in. So the second tab includes special funding from rural recruitment, and we get rural recruitment incentive funds through SARA in the state, along with ESEA funding, Title II funds, are also allotted to us in our department. So some of those things that we will pay through rural recruitment incentives would be mentoring and induction support, recruitment supplies, new employee packets. So I think it's very, very important that we give people something from Colleton County School District, just to educate them on the county, what's available here, the resources that they have available as district employees from the district. Also want to make sure that we have sufficient amount of new employee materials and that that they're of quality. We have always offered practice reimbursement through SARA funding, and also practice support through 240 tutoring. I have recently learned of another support through Learning Liaisons for those educators who are having difficulties or struggling with passing a portion of the praxis to get them certified. We have options for them to kind of help them get through those things, so we certainly want to pay for that. And also we split the teacher exchange fees with the general fund. We offset that with some of our rural recruitment funding, which is not a lot. And also, we have an employee assistance program that we need to maintain through Aspire. And then our frontline suite, so all of our AppleTracks, our applications, our absence management, and our contracts and new employee onboarding documentation is maintained in this suite. Title II has historically paid for signing bonuses for certified staff, and we want to see if bus drivers can also be paid out of that. And then we need paraphernalia when we go out to recruit. Currently, we just go in our clothes, our regular clothing, and not uniform, so we kind of want to look uniform so that we're marketing the district. Any questions? I wanted to be as transparent with you guys as possible, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If you have one that comes up later, you can email Ms. Williams, and I'll be happy to answer that for you.
And I also want to let you know that we couldn't get the link to work, but we've sent you all of the presentations, and if it doesn't work for you, just let us know and we'll resend it.
I'm curious, as we're kind of going through this, and like Ms. Wilsey has done a great job of breaking down kind of her budget. Do we have anything to show us what current budget is so we can see where, like what she has presented tonight, where it compares to our current budget?
Yes, but I, the first reading, I'm going to give you a budget, the current budget, and then prior year, next year budget. So you'll see the increase or decreases in everyone's budget.
Is there a way we can get that before the first reading?
Yeah, we're going to send it to you normally a week before the Yeah, but we still, we're still working in progress. We're still working on putting some more information in that budget. But as soon as I can finish it out, they should be able to copy.
No problem.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton, for making sure we're looking attractive when we go to places to recruit, and we look forward to seeing some of your ideas and how that can work with our communication as well. At this time, we'll hear the superintendent's report for technology.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right. As we start out in our budget request, first thing we come across is our capital projects request. We have the IT maintenance of service, which that one is our yearly allocation of maintenance of district equipment such as the vehicles, district IT equipment for students, teachers, and staff. That one's $200,000. Current copier agreements that we have, yearly payments for the copier agreements for 4 schools was $105,000. Additional Chromebooks replacement devices for Blackstreet Kindergarten and lost and damaged student devices, $150,000. Security maintenance of service. This is a yearly allocation for maintenance of district-wide video surveillance and access control systems. This was not funded in our current school year 23-24, and we needed to maintain these systems, and that's $50,000. We're looking at Chromebook charging cart replacements. The Chromebook charging carts for classrooms for daily charging and support of e-learning days, reducing the need for constant rewiring of the carts multiple times a year. That's $600,000. We're also looking at copiers and printers district-wide upgrade. This is a district-wide replacement of outdated copiers and a move to centralized printing, and that's $450,000.
Can I ask a question right there?
Sure.
How, teachers are always asking, how would they have access to the, being able to have copies with that centralized, just explore
Well,
that
it's
a little bit.
centralized when an individual would print. Nothing will print out at the time that they select print at their computer. When they go up to any given copier, they'll be able to swipe their badge and everything that they printed will come out of the system. So that way, if a device is down in one area where they normally print out, they can go to another area and still get their print jobs.
So centralized, if I'm in the high school or middle school, how far away is that?
In the high school, depending on the areas you're in, most areas are going to have a copier within it. So if you're thinking of one of the academies, in the central area, there'll be a copier in the teacher's workroom, upstairs and downstairs. Anywhere they currently have copiers, they will still have copiers. And any other place that would need a copier, they will gain it for example, the academies. Okay, next page is capital projects request. Of course, the charging Chromebook replacement, which is one of the things that I mentioned a moment ago. The problem we're having is the pre-K through grade 8 uses classroom sets of Chromebooks and use charging cart daily. Chromebooks designs have changed, as you're aware, and they now use a USB-C charging port. Current carts use charging trays with AC adapters, and we have to modify them to continue to use. Cable management nightmare, as you can imagine. Each summer, and sometimes more often, IT staff is having to rewire all the carts, which wastes a significant amount of time and resources that could be spent better on something else. E-learning days, AC adapters may have to be removed from the carts to send home with the device, and when it comes back, it has to be rewired. Solution for this is new carts distribute power through the cart and use small cable connectors to power the Chromebooks. This eliminates the need for the AC adapters to be installed in the carts and eliminates the cable management work and reduces the number of AC adapters that are needed. Next is capital projects request. Problem we run into here, current school copiers are old, frequently need repair, leaving the school without a working copier. Classroom printers have reached their end of life and have been at end of life for quite a bit of time. Current printer management is with IT and copier management is with finance. Solution is the copier management will move to IT. We'll move to a centralized printing with teacher transition to use of centralized copier. The placement and number of copiers needed to support each location has been reviewed and new copiers for school. Next is our general fund request. Now on this, we did do, as requested, the zero-based budget. You'll see the 23-24 budget listed on there, and that's strictly for comparison. That way you'd have current, some of the current information to be able to see where we were going with the zero-based budget. Repairs and maintenance, this is vehicle maintenance and fuel. Currently we're working under 4,000, we're requesting 6,000, which is a 2,000 difference, and that's for the increased costs, to be able to maintain the vehicles. Travel, data processing, local and district travel, requesting 3,500. Travel data processing conference and training opportunities, we're requesting 40,000. We have a lot of software and equipment that we maintain for the district that we need to maintain training for the staff in order for them to, there again, maintain the equipment properly. Technology services, this is software renewals. This one, as you see, the request is $728,900. That is to cover software that is currently in place district-wide. That is a need. There's no thrills or frills within that, and additional information can be provided at another time. Supplies, data processing is office supplies for the department. You see that stays the same, 5,000. Supplies, technology equipment, IT-related equipment, batteries, cables, cords, so on, 16,000. Technology supplies, ink, hardware supplies, tools, cleaners, 8,000. Total requesting for general fund request, 808,225. Now, why the increase? The Department of IT budget has not changed in years. The Department of IT is not allowed to present budget requests for the year 22-23 budget. An emergency purchase was funded in 21 and 22 for $125,000, but not included in the 22-23 budget. Products in the area of core infrastructure software have increased. Product use for students' devices support has increased. The 23-24 budget request for technology services software of $400,000 was eliminated. Now, the IT budget for technology services includes district-wide software and services such as internet circuits costs, Windows, Google, antivirus, cybersecurity, district website, Destiny, Enrich, Securely, Smart Notebook, telephone services, and that's just a drop in the bucket. There's a considerable amount more that we cover. Y'all have any questions?
Warren, first of all, thank you for the side-by-side comparison. That's what I was just asking for. It makes it a lot easier to see where you guys are now compared to what you're asking. So I appreciate that. My eyes immediately went to the technology services software renewals, but I believe further down in your explanation that was kind of covered. If that $400,000 wasn't eliminated, then that jump would not be nearly what it is, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just dealing with years of underfunding.
Right, and then it got pulled out of the last budget. Got you.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm curious, as Ms. Williams is coming up, and this is going to put you guys on the spot, and I apologize for that, but I just wonder, Mr. Zorn's presentation showed us where they are this year compared to what they're requesting for next year, and it showed an increase. Ms. Hamilton, do you know in the budget that you have currently worked on for next year, is it an increase it is an increase?
I think that's something Ms. Williams could bring forward if that's appropriate. Next time.
Well, it's just, I'm not asking for numbers. I'm just asking if it's an increase. Mr. Hamilton, do you know, was yours an increase?
It's flat.
Yours is not an increase.
Not an increase.
Okay, and who else did we hear from tonight? Did we hear from another department? That was it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I can summarize. Buildings and grounds, no increase in the general fund budget. Technology, there is an increase in the general fund budget, and HR, there is an increase in the general fund budget. Okay. I just wanted to stand to thank all of our department leaders for their presentations and their support staff who are here to support them. Thank you, Ms. Fitch. Thank you, Ms. Crosby. Thank you, Ms. Frank, for your work in helping to get these presentations done and giving this information to our board. And I just want to say that educating our children is the responsibility of our entire community. You know, I petition all of us to talk with our community and our state leaders and ask them to support our efforts to provide high-quality education to support our children. As you know, the mission of the Colleton County School District is to prepare every student to graduate with a 21st century education to be globally competitive for their chosen college and or career path. So thank you so very much. Board members, I hope that this was very purposeful and that you received good information so that you can see why we make certain decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Vice Chair, I would like to say just real quick, I hate to be, I think to use Mr. Stavender's term, Debbie Downer here, but this is our first board budget work session. And in two departments, we have already gone over the capital projects budget probably about 4 times over. And each of the ones that were presented tonight, other than buildings and grounds, have increased. So already, as we're looking at this budget working for this coming year, over the last couple of years, our budget has continued to increase, but yet in the slide that Ms. Ramona Barrett showed us tonight, our attendance has continually decreased. So there is a lot of work to be done before the first reading of our budget is brought to this board. So I'm wishing you guys good luck in your efforts.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, board members? Thank you for the work with your departments and bringing that forward. We hear the advice being given, and prayers go up for us to be where we need to be. And also, don't forget, if you want to pay respect to the family of Debbie Price, there will be a visitation on Thursday evening times, Ms. Williams?
From 6 until 8.
6 to 8. 5.
Oh, I'm
They
sorry,
extended it
5
5
until
to 8 at Herndon's Funeral Home.
Thank you.
And the service for celebration of her life is on Friday at Faith Church on Bells Highway at 1
At 1
p.m.
o'clock, that's right.
Are there any other announcements that we need to bring forth?
I think that's it. We talked about the kickball tournament being canceled because of the weather.
And the Thursday evening strategic plan?
Yes.
Reset?
Yes, we are canceling that as well, out of respect for the family.
Right. And that
Yes.
reset date?
April 9th.
April 9th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So our strategic plan, community members that might have been planning to come on Thursday evening will be rescheduled for Tuesday, April the 9th, and it's still 6 to 8?
6 to 8 at
6 to
Forest
8.
Hills Elementary School.
Yes, and we'll get that out on our website if it's not there already, so everyone knows that we're all invited to be there to hear our community information about our strategic plan being edited. So if there are no other action of the board, we hope that everyone can have a safe and prosperous spring break and return ready for 9 weeks of success.
Yes.
Can I hear a motion that we adjourn?
Madam Chair, make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?